This is being recorded. And thank you for the ping in terms of emails. If you didn't get the link for today's class, and there were a couple of last minute signups, and my team and I tried diligently to get everybody the Zoom link. My suggestion would be when you do get the recording link and the handout today, that you download it to your computer. Uh, we just never know between the Zoom and the Dropbox how long the recordings will be on there. If I think I'm going to download this to my Dropbox, and my Dropbox tends to last longer than Zoom. But this is yours forever, and there's a lot of great information. We will have time for a Q&A at the end. And also, we're probably going to do a little meditation as well. So I think I'm going to share my screen and we'll start in on my presentation. Feel free to make any comments in the chat box. I'll be monitoring those throughout our presentation today. So the title of this workshop is called See Clearly Now, Essential Oils and Natural Protocols for Vision Renewal. And a little backstory on how I actually got involved in aromatherapy. Two things happened. One was that I was working with a lot of people, and I was doing a test called the tissue mineral analysis, hair analysis. Many of you maybe have had that done. And I was working with a group of doctors with working with different detoxification systems to get rid of heavy metals out of the body. And hair mineral analysis is one of many ways to do that. So in the process, I happened to be at a health fair, and I met this woman who had a small boutique aromatherapy company, and I told her what I was doing, and so she donated some essential oils to me to use on these kids. We worked with the children in the study who had heavy metal toxicity. And the essential oils we actually used were black cumin, which we put 6 drops in a glass of water and they drank in the morning. Black cumin is a really great essential oil for immune health. We used it a lot. We used it a lot during COVID. The second oil that I used was an oil called patchouli, and patchouli works very well at getting heavy metals out of the body, and it's a good detoxifier. We had the protocol was 2 drops on the soles of the feet in the morning. We also used another essential oil for adrenal health, cedarwood atlas, which is a tree essential oil, and we had parents put 2 drops of that cedarwood atlas on the back around the kidneys and adrenal area. And then the last essential oil we used, which we're going to talk about today, was spike lavender. And we had parents put 2 drops of spike lavender on the soles of the feet. And we had them do it for 3 months. We tested the kids. There were 20 kids in the study, and we measured their hair mineral analysis at the beginning and then at the end of 3 months. And at the end of 3 months doing that essential oils protocol, what we found was that the heavy metals had left the body completely, 100%. I was really actually pretty surprised. And so that really caught my attention on the power of medicinal essential oils. Now, not all essential oils have that level of therapeutic value, but the ones we were using from this small boutique company, and I'll talk about, how to choose a company to use. And anyways, it was really great experience. So then I began studying aromatherapy. I became certified in it. I worked for a company and I taught classes and certification and did that for a few years and then kind of went off on my own. And so aromatherapy and essential oils are something that are near and dear to me. I feel they're really, really great support medicinally. And so that's that's one way that I got into it. Another way was personally, I had some digestive issues that I was dealing with during the time I was doing a lot of traveling and teaching. So I began using cardamom essential oil and basil essential oil, and I would put those in water and sip them after I ate. And within 2 weeks, digestive the digestive situation cleared up and never came back. And every now and then, if I, eat something that's a little hard for my digestive system, basil is my go-to. And put a little basil essential oil in a little glass of water, and that tends to take away the digestive distress. So we're not going to go into, all the different essential oils, respiratory, digestion, and so on. But I am doing a certification course in aromatherapy starting the end of January 2026. And I'll talk more about that certification. It'll be online, 6 weeks, and you'll need to buy 15 foundational essential oils that we'll go through, and we'll talk about all the different systems. But today we're going to focus a little more on the vision, brain part of my clinical work. So my resume is that I've been involved in holistic optometry for 40 years. And to me, vision has always been a doorway to my nervous system health, my fluid body health, um, learning all different kinds of modalities from iridology to craniosacral, energy healing. The eyes are an amazing doorway into the body. And coupling that with essential oils um, is a very intelligent plant medicine. And I'll talk more about why I think that is. But I have consulted and counseled thousands of people to use essential oils, and it's made a really big difference in their life. So I hope to be able to do that for you. So, as you know, in my brand, I have a new direction in vision care. My vision care is holistic, it's mind body, and the process is called functional vision integrative body. And so that means that the eyes are related to the body, they're related to the brain, they're related to our metabolic and systemic health. There's just so many possibilities in terms of applying different aspects of vision to my work. So let me just see if everybody is um, okay. Yes, we'll hold off on some of these until the end, but I'm tracking your questions and we'll keep going. Appreciate the comments, by the way. So I have a strong lineage of teachers, and at every workshop and seminar that I teach, I honor my mentors. I wouldn't be here without them. This is a picture of me back in 2016 when I was leading retreats at the Esalen Institute in Big Sur, California. Did that for 7 years. We used to run month-long retreats at Esalen, and it was tremendous. Loved it. Anyways, I want to just briefly touch and give gratitude to my teachers. A.M. Skeffington, I never met him, but his writings were incredible, and he was one of the fathers of holistic optometry. Dr. Albert A. Shankman was my optometrist and helped me completely reverse my myopia. You've probably heard that story. And I went to him early on in my career in optometry, and by completely reducing my myopia, it inspired me to focus on a more holistic approach. Dr. Albert Sutton was a great friend and mentor of mine who helped me understand child development and how our vision really starts in utero, and our, in utero experience, our birth, and our bonding experiences have strong imprints on how we develop our eyes and vision. And Dr. Sutton was a major influencer in that. Dr. John Streff and Dick Appel, they were my teachers and professors when I attended the Gazelle Institute. And Gazelle was a institution affiliated with Yale Study Center at Yale in New Haven, Connecticut. And I spent a year there learning how to evaluate and treat special needs kids. It was an amazing time early in my career to get that training under my belt. I'd like to thank Emily Conrad. Emily is a somatic pioneer. She passed away in 2014. She started the practice Continuum Movement. I was an authorized Continuum Movement teacher, trained by Emily, since left Continuum, but still use many of her somatic principles. If you want to read a good book, her book that came out, Life on Land, she is today, that book is, if you read it, you go, oh my goodness, that's what's happening today. And she wrote that book 10, 15 years ago. So pretty amazing. Shout out to Dr. Kordkoff, who taught me about biofield analysis and the GDV camera, my research with assisted dolphin swims, using the biofield analysis and measuring people's energy fields before and after dolphin swims, color therapy, essential oils, really wonderful. Dr. Hazel Parcells, she was one of my early teachers here in Santa Fe. I met her when she was 103 years old. She was just starting a retreat center in Sapio, New Mexico, and she lived to 106, and I became a student of hers for 3 years, and she taught me a lot about nutritional therapies, energy healing, and many other things. She has a book that came out written by one of her associates called Live Better Longer. It's a great book. If you're interested in having longevity in your life, I would check out Dr. Parcells and her writings. Number 8, Dr. Ellen Jensen. Ellen was my teacher in iridology. I'm certified in iridology, and the iris is a genetic map of the body. And her father-in-law was the founder of iridology in the United States, Bernard Jensen. You've probably heard of him. Great naturopath, had a wonderful clinic in Escondido, California, outside of San Diego. And when he passed away, Ellen took over. She's a wonderful teacher, and I've learned so much from her, not just analyzing the iris, but also naturopathic techniques and helping bring people back into balance. And number 9, my clients and patients, shout out to them because they've taught me a lot about aromatherapy and herbal. Now, our focus today is not on herbs, but I might do another webinar on herbal remedies. Lots of great compresses and things that you can use around the eyes in terms of the herbs. And sometimes you can just pick the herbs in your backyard or, close by. And so anyways, herbs are amazing. And I'm actually going to quote an herbalist who I studied with later today in this lecture. So I want to just touch base on some foundational truths about our eyes. And number one, the eyes originate from the brain tissue originally, and the eyes are one of the most ancient early tissues prenatally. The eyes start developing from the brain very soon after conception. So it's a very old part. It takes us back to the primordial part. When we start, working with our eyes in a more somatic way, we can actually start accessing things in our prenatal experience, and it's very potent when you start opening your eyes to that connection to the brain. The eyes are also interrelated and interconnected to our body. This includes cranial rhythm, our liver health, our digestion, and on and on. So the eyes have a very strong connection to our body. The eyes carry 60 to 80% of body tension, especially with all the digital time we're on. If you're on screens more than an hour a day, it's very important that you do eye relaxation techniques to discharge the absorbed tension that you might get in your eyes from looking at screens. Myopia, nearsightedness is increasing by epidemic proportions, and part of that is just so much tension that we have. Next, the way to heal your vision and increase your wellness is to realize that it's a process that could be psycho-emotional, energetic, spiritual, and physical. So that we have to go beyond the physicality of the eyes and the numbers. You know, one of my sayings is I don't look at the numbers, but I look at the person behind the numbers. And every individual that I evaluate gets a personalized program. Even in our workshops, we give out personalized programs. Not everybody gets the same thing because our vision develops based on our perceptions, based on our movement, posture, diet, stress, lifestyle. So all of these things affect how we see and how we develop our seeing. Wearing the proper lens is very important. Most glasses and contact lens prescriptions that eye doctors prescribe are way too strong. And it's amazing in, the eye exams that I used to do, I would say 95% of the people that I would evaluate, I would reduce their prescription during the first visit. This was even before any physical therapy exercises. Oxygenation and hydration are the keys to healthy eyesight, and that plays right into the essential oils that we're going to talk about. So here's a picture of a retina that I wanted to show this to you. This is what eye doctors see when they look in the eye. And this over here, where the vessels come out, is called the optic nerve. And these vessels are going into the optic nerve back to the brain. Over here, this is the macula area. These thicker vessels, arteries, and veins. So we look at the crossings. High concentration of microcapillaries. Microcapillaries are the tiny blood vessels in the eye. Tremendous amount. And the macula, which is right here, that has the highest metabolic need of the retina. So the eyes need a lot of nutrient support to stay healthy. And if they don't get that, then oxidative stress and inflammation starts to creep in. And then you go to your doctor and there's a surprise. You've got cataracts, you've got glaucoma, you've got macular degeneration, just to name a few. And it's a surprise to you, but probably the depletion has been going on for a long time, but now it's getting to the point where it's creating physical changes. Well, guess what? You don't have to live out your doctor's diagnosis, and you can improve and change your vision. Today, we're going to use essential oils to help you with that. So, essential oils, what they tend to do is a couple of things. Number one, they can improve your circulation. Number two, they can improve your lymph flow. And number three, they can increase your relaxation. Now, there needs to be certain rules, guardrails, structures around application. And I'm going to go into in great depth how to safely apply the essential oils to your body so that you get the best result without any burning or side effects or things like that. Essential oils can also calm your nervous system, which can affect your vision, all your sensory systems, your brain, your memory, and so on. Also, essential oils, they can give you ocular comfort, they can ease tension, and they can reduce oxidative stress. I would add another one where they could actually improve your visual clarity and your peripheral vision. I've seen that many, many times, especially with the eye protocol that I'm going to be sharing with you today. So, I want to talk for a minute about the nervous system. And in the nervous system, we have basically two tributaries. We have the sympathetic nervous system and we have the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is the part of our nervous system that's active. That's the state we're in when we're walking, we're running, we're activating mentally, we're working. And then we have the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our relaxation state. That's the state where we go into rest and settle and sleep, digestion, meditation. And so, in both of these, sympathetic, parasympathetic, I would say in our society today, we are spending way too much time in our sympathetic nervous system and basically no time in our parasympathetic nervous system. That's why so many people have sleep disorders, that we have digestive problems, we have anxiety. And so the idea is that harmony and balance occur when we have this symbiotic state of sympathetic parasympathetic. And when we do that, it creates more resiliency in our organism. And essential oils can help you with that, depending on what oils you use and how you apply them. Now, one rule that I want to get clear about at the very beginning is that we never put essential oils in the eyes. We can put them around the eyes, maybe, but we have to be very careful of even handling the oils on our hands and fingers and then touching our eyes. Because if you're handling the oils and you handle them directly, you want to keep them away from your sensitive areas. And the eyes are one of those sensitive areas. So you need to be mindful if you're going to put them on your hands, you don't want to put them inside the eyes. Very, very important. All right, I want to take a moment and I want to talk about the limbic brain. So, the limbic brain is associated with emotions, memory, and motivation, many other things as well. But the olfactory sense, the smell, the sense of smell, is one of the initiating processes that I recommend when people start using essential oils. In fact, in my certification classes, we do two things to be able to get certified. The first is that we show the essential oils in an unmarked bottle, and you have to look at the color of the essential oil in the bottle and tell what essential oil it is. The second thing is we blindfold you and we put out six essential oils, and you have to identify the essential oils through your sense of smell. So that the essential oils are a multisensory experience. We smell them, we feel them, we can taste them. Um, so there's lots of different ways to get the oils into your body. I have an elderly couple, and what they love to do, they work together every day. They're in their 80s, but they work in their home and they're writers, and they diffuse very calming essential oils every day. And so it gets into the air. Their dogs love it. And basically, right now, they're using lavender as a way to create relaxation and harmony as they're working. So diffusing the essential oil is one way to do it. And we can talk about that. But I think the oils can definitely help us with self-regulation and sympathetic, parasympathetic. I've seen this with kids a lot. Another thing that the essential oils do, which really isn't talked about very much, is cellular and mitochondria support. Now, many of you have heard me talk about mitochondria support through the photobiomodulation process of red light therapy. But the idea is that the essential oils can also work in supporting mitochondria function. Mitochondria are the energy batteries of the cell, and they produce something called ATP. And ATP is an important ingredient that gives the cell more energy, reduces oxidative stress, reactive oxygen species, and those kinds of things. So I'm not going to go too deep into mitochondria, but what I will say is that the longevity movement today is really looking at mitochondria support as a way to slow down the aging process. All right, so when we talk about essential oils, we talk about how often we use them, and we can also talk about the synergistic relationship if we use more than one essential oil. I remember when I was researching what are the best essential oils for the eyes, and I'm going to give you that answer today. Um, there was a chemical reaction that I used in measuring people with my GDV camera, doing subjective questionnaires with people, and really coming up with a great combination that worked synergistically because the essential oils have a very complicated chemical makeup. I mean, they're naturally made, but it's a really interesting situation. And then last is vision and brain pathways connection. So knowing that the eyes originate from the brain and understanding that we're not just working with the eyes here, we're working with the brain, we're working with development, and there it is. This is how we go for it. So I'm going to stop here because I want to tell a little story. And in this story, it has a lot of significance because it really relates quite a bit to our focus today. So there was a group of pharmaceutical scientists. They worked for a big pharmaceutical company, and they had been observing these Amazon shamans. And they decided that they wanted to make a trip to the Amazon and they wanted to talk to these shamans about why their plant medicines were working so well in healing all these chronic conditions. So they were able to arrange a trip. They went down to the Amazon and they had a 3-day meeting with these Amazon healers. And during the 3 days, these scientists asked a lot of questions about, the chemical makeup, how they created the potions, and so on and so forth. And the Amazon shamans took them out into the forests, showed them the plants, and a good time was had by all. So the pharmaceutical scientists were instructed by the CEO to pay these Amazon shamans $1 million for the formula. And so the Amazon shamans got together, they had a council, and they said, okay, you pay us $1 million and we'll give you the formulation. And so they had the transaction and they went back up to their laboratory in New Jersey where they lived and worked and researched. And this was one of the top three pharmaceutical companies in the United States, billions of dollars. And so they thought they got this, for a steal because what they were going to do is they were going to take the formulation and they were going to make up all these, drugs around it, and then they were going to distribute and disseminate to the consumer. So it took them about 6 months. They went through their research and development, and they released the drugs. And of course, there was a lot of marketing behind this, and they basically were promising the same things that they had heard from the Amazon shamans in terms of healing all these different conditions, and they were charging so much money for these drugs. So, big marketing, people bought them, and guess what? Nothing happened. There was a total flop with the pharmaceutical companies. And the Amazon shamans never revealed this, but what they what they said was that it wasn't the formulation that created the healing. It was the relationship that the Amazon shamans had with the plants that created the healing. And this is a very important teaching right here that, um, I can recommend the fanciest protocol in plant medicine, but if you have no relationship or communication with nature, with the plants themselves, then probably not much is going to happen. And I've seen this over and over again. And what's really interesting about drugs, and I'm going to talk a little bit about pharmaceutical drugs as we get back into the uh, presentation, is that those are synthetically made. They're chemically and synthetically made. They are not natural. And anything that you take synthetically is going to have potentially side effects that the body is going to reject. And when we talk about the field, we talk about the energy field. And in the energy field, when we start taking a lot of drugs, that energy field vibrates at a much lower frequency. When we work directly with plants, whether it's herbs, essential oils, flower essences, you name it, doesn't matter. They're all accurate and valid. Homeopathy is another one that I'm a strong believer in. When we work with those plant-based medicines, we are working at a much higher vibratory rate. And those vibrations meet our vibrations, and that's what heals the disharmony. Because pharmaceuticals treat symptoms. Plant plant medicine creates more balance and harmony. And one of the things that I'm working really hard at with my students and my patients right now is to get them out of the fix-it model. And that's very hard for people. And I'm turning people away. I'm not working with certain types of people anymore because I'm not doing fix-it work. Oh, I've got this, give me that. It's a very linear way of doing it. And my focus and my teaching is about saying what we want to do is give you something that creates more balance and harmony. And there's a word we use called adaptogenic. And if I give lavender oil to 10 people, they might have 10 different responses to it based on their body chemistry, their lifestyle, their nutrition, their genetic makeup, and on and on. So, it's very important that if you start really using these deeply, that even if you take a walk in nature, even if you acknowledge nature, in some of my more advanced in-person retreats, we actually do some journaling around relating to the plants, whether it's a flower, a tree, a grass. It doesn't matter because in terms of essential oils, we can get essential oils from all the different plant parts. So that's a little bit about